But another important fact I need to share, that if you want to understand Malaysian context, is that a lot of the problems today is also due to what happened in May 13, 1969. Okay, there was an ethnic or racial fighting or riot in Kuala Lumpur. At least this is what the official history. Again, I'm saying this is how the official dominant history that every Malaysian student, when we study from elementary school to high school, we are taught this, that in 1969 there was a big racial conflict, and that racial conflict became the basis for how the economics of the country is today. So in 1969, the riot happened, and as a result, we have the new economic policy. The new economic policy was introduced to help Malays to achieve economic equality with Chinese. Put it simply. So I'm not sure, have you heard of the term Bumiputra? Can you explain Bumiputra?
Bumiputra 在马来语当中指的就是土族，虽然说是指的是土族，但对于土族他们的定义方式都有所不同。Hello， 听到吗？需要重复吗？刚才听得到
？OK 啊。
OK， 都明白吗？我还是重复一次。Bumiputra 其实在马来语当中指的就是土族，就是说无论在尤其是在经济上的话，土族都会有一般的那个优势的权利，就有那时候购买房屋有土族的折扣，而土族通常的定义方式就是必须第一遵守马来语的
New economic policy 可以 connect OK
遵守于就是说是他必须要遵守于马来人的adab，就是遵礼俗，还有就是必须要马来人身份已经是伊斯兰教徒，然后在这个 New Economic Policy 就是新经济政策底下，进一步强化对于这个土族的那个经济援助，包括像就是那个申请公立大学的时候的那个配额等等，都会优先于给予土族有优势权等等。
Okay, so yeah, the importance of like the racial conflict gave the reason to the ruling party to introduce this new economic policy, where it is to improve the economic condition of the Malays and the Bumiputra. But in order to understand Bumiputra, I need to go into the idea of Malay identity. Okay, how does Malay people understand the roots of their identity? And this is very important because in the constitution, the Malaysian constitution, there is an article that talks about who is a Malay. So very simply, to understand Malay identity, there are three ideas, right? Number one is kerajaan. Kerajaan is a Malay word for kingship or sultan. Right? So traditional or Malay society, they have a king or a raja. And the identity of the person is that your sense of identity is below the raja. That's the classic understanding of the Malay identity. But then there is a second concept of Malay identity, Bangsa Melayu. Means Malay race. I think in Nihongo they call Minzoku. I don't know Minzoku. Manjok. Yeah. So yeah. So that's a new idea of Malayness being a race, and that only developed in the colonial British period, which nationalism, Malay nationalism, is based on this concept of Bangsa Melayu. So Malay identity is tied to your race. So yeah, these are the two dominant ideas in who is a Malay. Thirdly, is Islam, of course. Right? So 3 things: Kerajaan, Bangsa Melayu, and Islam. So these 3 factors define who a Malay is. But I will tell more about the story about Islam as we continue the story. But to put it simply, as I mentioned, the basic law or the Constitution of Malaysia, Article 153, define a Malay as someone who believe in Islam, profess Islam, you speak Bahasa Melayu, and you practice Malay custom or traditions. So practicing Malay custom or tradition indirectly means you accept the Sultan's dominion over your life. So it's all, those 3 concepts I just introduced, it's nicely summarized in Article 153 in the Constitution. So who is a Malay? Yeah, they just say, yeah, you can find it clearly in that. But of course it's not as simple as that, as today's political problems have developed.
Kia Meng,
Yeah.
sorry. So there's the meaning, kerajaan include the government, like the governor, the prime minister, governor, yeah.
Okay, good question. Actually, you can stop me. Thanks, Wes, for starting this. At every point, yeah.
The kerajaan is meaning of government.
Correct,
You just now say raja. Oh.
Both are used. But let me just explain this part. Answer his question first. Yeah. In Malaysia, the word for government also use the same word as kingdom. Kerajaan basically means kingdom. Okay, the root word. But in modern Malaysia, it has become so normalized, we use it to mean the government. Okay. Because and using Indonesia as a comparison is good example. Indonesia, they don't call their government kerajaan. They call it pemerintah.
Oh.
Pemerintah means ruler. Different. So the point that I'm saying is that the kingdom of Malay sultans have become so traditionally entrenched in Malay society, it became so easily translated to also mean government. Yeah. So it actually contains both meanings.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, it's because for the Malay, at least traditional society, there is almost an overlap between the so-called civil government and the traditional sultanate or the Raja. Yeah. We cannot understand per se until we understand this historical development. I said earlier, modernity, right? Modernity is a very, I would say, cultural, philosophical concept. But to understand Malays, you also need to understand modernity and modernization as sociological processes. What do we mean by this modernization and modernity? Everyone knows this picture. Have you seen it in the advertisement? Visit Malaysia, all the brochure or pamphlet. The tall building in the middle, not very clearly shown here, but it's actually the Twin Towers, Petronas Twin Towers in Kuala Lumpur, KLCC. I think Taipei 101 is taller, I'm not sure, or lower. Taipei, yeah. So before Taipei 101 came into being, this was at one time the tallest building in the world. I think in the mid-90s. Right? It's a symbol of modernization in Malaysia. Yeah? And it's connected strongly with what I wrote up there, Vision 2020. The longest serving Prime Minister of Malaysia is a person called Mahathir Mohamad. Have you heard of this person? He was Prime Minister of Malaysia for 22 years. Shorter than Lee Kuan Yew, I think, but still one of the so-called Asian strongman leaders, right? And so he was the Prime Minister of Malaysia from 1981 to 2003. He retired basically. Yeah, but some people say he hasn't really retired. He's still very active even now, right? But for that's a different story. But the point is, he was the most influential prime minister, and when he was administering the country, he developed this modernistic vision called Wawasan 2020, which is Malay word for Vision 2020. The meaning of this vision is, by 2020, the year 2020, Malaysia will be a fully developed, fully industrialized nation. Okay? So again, yeah, see, I was saying that this idea of progress, why Malay is backward, is all tied to this modern logic that at some point in the future we will become fully modern. We will become fully, how to say, developed or industrialized. And Shamsul Abi is a Malay sociologist. He did also make the point that this modernization project in Malaysia, and again I said it's during Mahathir's period, it has two components. One is economic and another is political. So in order to realize this Vision 2020, they use both economic power and also political power to bring about the realization of Malaysia being a fully industrialized country by the year 2020. But Mahathir also noticed that if you want to achieve fully modern or fully industrialized society, you need a new identity for Malays. Okay? Malays, he said, need to become Melayu Baru. Melayu is the bahasa word for Malay. Yeah? Malay means, Melayu is the proper bahasa word for Malay. So Melayu Baru means new Malay. So the Prime Minister of this vision, we need to be fully developed by the year 2020. But in order to reach that, Malays need to change their thinking, transform their sense of identity to become new Malays. So this idea of modernization also connected to social identity. So think of it as the project of modernization, not just economic, also social transformation of the individual Malay. So who is this Melayu Baru? One example is this guy. This guy is one of the richest Malay or Bumiputra, industrialist or capitalist. Right? He is known as the currently is the sugar king of Malaysia, as in he owns the sugar industry of Malaysia and also the shipping and port industry. So he would be, if you say Melayu Baru, this man is, I'm saying that in the imagination, a popular imagination of Malaysians, he is the ideal. Melayu Baru is a successful businessman, basically, put it simply. A successful and competitive Malay businessman is the usual image of who a Melayu Baru is, the new Malay. So a new Malay is not the poor agricultural Malay. The new Malay is the corporate image Malay. Those who succeed in business in its different forms. Second image is I would call the Islamic modern identity. So earlier I said that there are three, to be Malay got three concepts, right? Devoted to king. You also believe in your racial difference as Malay, and also you believe in Islam. So there is one big group in the Malay community. They believe that Islam should be the main source of identity for the Malay people. So Malay as a concept, as I mentioned, is not a stable concept, right? It's not, to who is a Malay is not agreed by every Malay person. That's what I'm trying to say, right? If you ask 10 Malay, half of them will disagree with the other half, right? Some will say to be Malay means to be Muslim first. Okay, so this in contrast to the Melayu Baru, in Malay identity there is also the Islamic modern type where they believe Malaysia should become a Muslim country. So if you, some of you who, if you follow the recent politics, there are some groups in Malaysia, they would want Malaysia to become a Islamic state. That means the laws of the country should be changed to reflect that Malaysia is now a Muslim country. So this image of Malayness is that they draw their primary example, I mean the sense of identity as being Muslim as the most fundamental. And also, to understand Gramsci, you have to understand what happened in 1998-99. What is known as the Reformasi movement. Earlier, I began the presentation. I said that there can be many types of crisis: economic, political, social. Right. So, in 1997, East Asian economic crisis happened. All right. South Korea, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, all of them was hit by the financial crisis in 1997. As a result of the financial crisis, in the same period, there developed a political crisis called Reformasi movement. So what happened was, in terms of the political situation, the Prime Minister I mentioned, Mahathir, he removed this man in the middle, the man talking in the mic, Anwar Ibrahim, his name. Very important opposition figure in Malaysian politics. He was the Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia at that time. And so imagine, Mahathir, Anwar, this man here on the picture, was his successor or deputy. But what was unthinkable or surprising for all Malaysians at the time, Mahathir sacked Anwar, kicked him out from the government, and later charged him for homosexual offences, which is very, I mean, amazingly, yeah, I know that Taipei is very LGBT friendly, but in Malaysia, homosexuality is seen very stigmatized, right? It's still heavily stigmatized because of Islam, obviously. Because Islam defined homosexuality or LGBT as deviant, sexual sin or sexual deviant, yeah. So at that time, no one believed that, yeah, the second most powerful man in politics, he was removed by the Prime Minister and put in prison, saying that he committed homosexual acts, right? But anyway, that's the appearance of the scandal. But the point was, a new social movement emerged in Malaysia for the first time in history in 1998. So Gramsci, you cannot understand Gramsci without understanding Reformasi. Yeah. Basically, you can say there can be no Gramsci without Reformasi. It happened in '98 when the supporter of this man, they gathered in the streets and started to protest against the undemocratic actions of the Prime Minister Mahathir.